But on the other hand, I could imagine as a hopeful scenario a future world of, let's say, 500 or a billion healthy, happy, well-fed people of all races, political persuasions, gender preferences, and so forth and so on. And those people would essentially live as our archaic ancestors did, very little material culture, very nomadic. But if you could transport yourself into the body of one of these people, you would discover that when they close their eyes, there are menus hanging in space. In other words, the computer that was on the back of the thumbnail, 5 years later, that computer moves into being a kind of an implant, a black contact lens that is sewn into your eyelids at age 6, so that when you close your eyes, you're actually looking at an interface. And the entire database of the culture could be placed there. You see, really what computers are doing is they're making what we call the collective unconscious conscious. All data, all images are potentially accessible through the network. And, I'm still getting used to the idea of the network myself. Like I keep thinking, oh, I have this timeline. I could get somebody's chronology and put it at my website. And then I remember, no, all I have to do is point to their website. I don't have to copy or move anything. If there is one list, that's all the world needs. Anybody else who needs that list can point to it from their website. So the speed at which new structures can be created is astonishing. I mean, it almost literally overnight you can build a website and begin to point at other websites and bring resources into yours. This is a technology which is going to turn out to not be what people think it is. It's going to be a technology for showing each other the inside of our heads, for showing each other our dreams. One thing I didn't talk about in the main part of the lecture is that psychedelics are catalysts for language. They speed up and catalyze the language formation process. And a culture cannot evolve any faster than its language evolves. And it cannot be any more glued together than the bandwidth that its languages will tolerate. And so what this technology that is putting in place is going to mean is the way in which it will dissolve boundaries is by making us transparent to each other. I mean, I can imagine a child of the future. We all bring home our drawings to stick on refrigerators and things like that. In the future, we won't stick them on refrigerators. We will stick them in our website. And everything will go into our website. And by the time we're 25 or something, our website will be the size of the American Museum of Natural History. And you can wander through it. And as a gesture of intimacy, you can invite someone else to wander through it. Well, that's who you are. It's your imagination. And I think, in a sense, I've said at times that the cultural enterprise is an effort to turn ourselves inside out. We want to put the body into the imagination, and we want the imagination to replace the laws of physics. With these technologies, we can probably do that, but it'll have to run on psychedelic design principles, or it's certain to be a mess. Yeah. Well, first of all, let me say this. There are several mushrooms which contain psilocybin which grow in cow dung. What I urge people to do, if you're serious about this, is to grow your own. This is moderately self-serving because I wrote a book about how to grow your own mushrooms. But there are many such books. You don't have to buy mine. You only need it if you want the best one. But you see, here, Stamitz's book is excellent. And if you want to go large scale, Stamitz's book is the one. But let me say something then. After the brain, the stomach is the most heavily innervated organ in the body. And anxiety has a way of cropping up as a stomach ache. So a lot of people have anxiety in the first hour of taking mushrooms, and they believe that something in the mushroom is giving them gastric distress. It really isn't. It's more like a case of butterflies on an empty stomach, because you should take mushrooms on an empty stomach. You can try a suppository, you can try another drug if you want, but there is in this psychedelic business something to be said for simply disciplining your hind brain. Also, you can suppress nausea with cannabis. So, a mixture of self-discipline, pharmacological steering, so forth and so on. If you have a severe reaction to the mushroom, you probably shouldn't take it. I mean, after all, it is a fungus, and as mammals, we have developed some pretty strong allergenic reactions to fungi, some of us. And certain reactions to psilocybin are not psychedelic reactions, like enormous sweating or something like that. That's more an indication of an allergy. If you're going to get into psychedelics, one of the things you have to do is learn your way around. Psychedelic sophistication doesn't mean you took everything there is in combination with everything else there is at high doses with your friends at rock concerts. It means that you figured out what worked for you and then really put the pedal to the metal, Yeah. No, you've stumped the star. I'm interested in organic superconductivity and room temperature superconductivity, but I don't know his work, so I can't comment on it.
You said he's going to be coming out with a book in 69 months called Ormus, O-R-M-E-S, Ormus, which is orally rearranged monotonic elements.
I'm sure it will find its way to my desk. Now all these hands. Oh, he should be the guy, you tell me. All right.
How much of our consensus reality do you think is based on inexorable physical laws, things that aren't of our own creation, and how much, if any, is subject to change without notice, simply based on a consensus belief of what should be or what is going to be? How do you think things work?
Well, this is sort of where I'm at. As you were asking the question, my tendency would be to say none, that none of our reality is based on inexorable physical law. But I only want that to be true. I'm not sure it is true. Whitehead he had this thing about what he called stubborn facts. And he said there are some stubborn facts, and you can cut your philosophy any way you want, but if you don't take account of the stubborn facts, you'll have a problem. A lot of reality is made of language. How much, I'm not sure, but my hope is that a great deal is made of language. Rupert Sheldrake, who's a good friend of mine, and we sort of think along the same lines, he believes that there are not inexorable physical laws, that there are just very old habits. He would think of the speed of light as a very old habit.